Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to get into something that I think every single person listening has experienced.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet a significant amount of money that you've experienced this in, like, the last week, maybe even in the last 24 hours.
It's a universal human experience.
Mhm.
It really is. It crosses cultures. It crosses generations.
Okay, I want you to picture this scenario and, be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're at a dinner, or maybe you just ordered takeout. Let's say it's pizza. You are absolutely starving. You've had a long day, you skip lunch, and that pizza arrives.
There you go.
You open the box, the steam hits you. It's just glorious. You eat that first slice, and it is a spiritual experience.
Pure bliss.
Exactly. Then you eat the second, feel
Okay.
great, then the third, but then you keep eating.
Right.
You're not really hungry anymore. In fact, you're starting to feel a little uncomfortable. The top button of your jeans is digging into your stomach, but there is still food in the box. And for some reason, you just keep going until you regret everything. You're lying on the couch groaning, wondering, why did I do that?
That is the classic paradox.
Right.
Why do we overindulge? Why do we chase satisfaction until we run right off a cliff into misery?
And it's not just food. Why do we buy those buy one, get one free deals when we don't even need the second item?
Right.
We usually blame it on our own character flaws, We say, oh, I have no willpower, or I'm just being greedy.
Sure. That's the easy answer.
But the notes we have for today, which are based on some really interesting economic theory, they suggest there's actually a very specific hard-coded principle driving that behavior. It's not just you being weak, it's math.
Exactly. We're looking at a fascinating set of source materials today that break down a core concept of economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility.
Okay, I have to stop you there. The law of diminishing marginal utility. That is quite possibly the driest, most unappealing phrase in the English language.
It is a mouthful.
It sounds like something you'd hear in a lecture hall with bad fluorescent lighting while you're trying to stay awake.
It sounds dry, I totally admit it. But if you strip away the academic branding, it's actually the secret code to understanding your own happiness. It explains the mechanics of why we get bored, why we get sick of things.
Why relationships can lose their spark.
Why relationships lose their spark and why we overspend at the grocery store.
And to make this easier to digest, pun intended, the source material frames this whole concept through a dialogue between two characters. We have Annie and we have Sean.
I love this framing. It just makes the abstract so much more concrete. So Annie represents the emotional, impulsive consumer in all of us. She's the eyed. She wants the pizza, she wants the shoes, and she wants them now.
And then we have Sean.
Sean is the rational voice. He's the analytical one holding the clipboard, trying to get Annie to see the logic behind her choices. He's sort of the economist living in the back of your brain.
So our mission today is to walk through lesson number 5 from these notes. We're going to unpack the science of satisfaction and, hopefully, help you figure out your own stop signals so you don't end up with a stomachache.
Or the empty bank account.
Exactly.
Let's dive in.
Before we get to the pizza, we have to do a little bit of housekeeping on the vocabulary. We need to unpack this term, the law of diminishing marginal utility.
Right.
Let's start with that word marginal. Because in normal conversation, if I say there was a marginal improvement, I mean, it was tiny. It barely mattered.
Exactly. In standard English, marginal means on the edge or insignificant. But in economics, it is a very specific, very powerful definition.
Okay.
Marginal simply means additional, or the next one.
The next one.
Yes, economics is obsessed with the margins. They don't care about the total cost of building 1,000 cars. They care about the marginal cost, the cost of building one more car.
So in our context, the marginal unit is just the next thing you consume, the next slice of pizza.
The next hour of watching TV, the next pair of shoes.
Got it.
Precisely. And then we have utility. Now, this is another one where the common usage kind of throws us off. When I think utility, I think of a utility knife or my water bill.
Usefulness, functionality.
Right.
Is it useful?
But in economics, utility is the word for satisfaction, happiness, or value. It's the invisible score you give to an experience.
An invisible score.
Yeah, back in the 1800s, economists needed a way to measure how much people wanted things, so they came up with this concept of utility.
So when we talk about marginal utility, we're simply asking, how much extra happiness do you get from consuming one more unit of something?
Simple enough. Additional happiness.
So let's look at the experiment in the source material. We have Annie. She is starving. She orders a massive pepperoni pizza.
And this is where we have to look at the progression of consumption. It's not just Annie eats pizza. It's a step-by-step process.
Step 1.
Annie grabs that first slice.
And the source described this beautifully. The first slice. Annie rates it a 10 out of 10 on the happiness scale.
It's paradise.
It really is. I mean, think about the sensory details. The cheese is hot and stretchy, the crust is perfect, the sauce has that tang, and biologically, her blood sugar is low, so her body is screaming yes.
Absolutely.
That first slice is pure bliss. It solves the problem of hunger and provides intense pleasure.
But then Sean, the rational observer, he asked a critical question. He asked Annie, okay, that was a 10. What score would you give the second slice? Or the third?
And this is the crux of it, right? Because instinctively, Annie and all of us, we think, I love pizza. Pizza creates happiness. Therefore, more pizza equals more happiness.
We think satisfaction is linear. If one slice is good, 10 slices must be 10 times as good.
But that is never how it works.
Never. And that brings us to the core concept. Utility is not constant. It changes with every single bite.
So this is the diminishing part of the law.
Precisely. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that as you consume more of a good, the satisfaction you get from each additional unit decreases.
Yeah.
It has to.
So let's track Annie's journey through this pizza box. She had the 10 out of 10 experience with slice 1. She eats slice 2. It's still great. Maybe a 9. Slice 3. Maybe an 8. But what happens as she keeps going?
Well, by the time she gets to the fourth slice, the source notes that the experience has fundamentally changed. The pizza hasn't changed.
It's the same recipe.
It's the same recipe. It's still warm. But Annie has changed.
Her hunger is subsiding.
Right. The biological urgency is gone. Now she's just eating for flavor. But even the flavor is suffering from what psychologists call sensory adaptation. The novelty of the taste is just wearing off.
So maybe slice 4 is like a 6 out of 10?
Exactly. It's fine. It's meh. The wow factor is gone.
Right.
You're chewing, you're swallowing, but the fireworks are over. And then we hit the turning point.
Okay.
Slice 5. The wall. The source describes this as the moment Annie starts feeling heaviness. The grease starts to feel a little coating in the mouth. The stomach is expanding. The enjoyment is fading rapidly. The utility, the happiness score is dropping like a stone. Maybe it's a 1 or 2.
You're barely breaking even on the happiness scale. You're just doing it to do it.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because most people assume that the worst thing that can happen is you just stop enjoying it. You hit 0. You're neutral.
But Annie doesn't stop. Annie is eyeing that 6th slice, and Sean warns her about something called negative utility.
This is a concept people often overlook. We assume utility stops at 0. But it can go lower. It can go into the negatives.
So if Annie eats the 6th slice,
She isn't just gaining 0 happiness. She is actively subtracting from her well-being. She is generating disutility.
pain.
Physical pain,
Yeah.
nausea, lethargy, the need to unbutton the pants and lie perfectly still so you don't throw up.
That is negative utility.
Yes. The cost of eating that slice in terms of physical comfort outweighs any fleeting taste pleasure. The math has flipped. You are now paying with your health to
Okay.
consume the product.
Wow. That is such a powerful way to frame overindulgence. We think more is better. We're hoarders by nature. But the expert in the text, Sean, is pointing out that more can literally equal suffering.
It challenges the assumption that accumulation is always the goal. If you're accumulating negative utility, you are hurting yourself. You are worse off than you were 5 minutes ago.
So we've established that the first bite is heaven and the 6th bite is hell. That seems obvious when we sit here and talk about it.
Right.
But in the moment we eat the 6th slice. Why does Annie want to eat it?
This is where the dialogue between Annie and Sean gets heated. Because Annie has a reason. It's very common, very human, and very irrational reasons.
She says, but I paid for the whole pizza. I have to finish it.
I think we have all said that. I don't want to waste money. There are starving children in the world. I can't just throw this away.
Oh, absolutely. I've done it at movie theaters with giant buckets of popcorn. I've done it with books that I hated but forced myself to finish because I paid $20 for the hardcover.
And Sean jumps in here to introduce another major economic concept, the sunk cost fallacy.
Can you break that down for us? How does Sean explain it to Annie, who is currently, clutching her stomach?
Sean's logic is ruthless but correct. He asks her, is the money in the pizza box?
Is the cash under the pepperoni?
No. The money is gone. The transaction happened 45 minutes ago when she handed over her credit card. That money is sunk. It is unrecoverable.
It's gone.
Whether she eats the pizza, throws it in the trash, or launches it into space, her bank balance is exactly the same.
So the act of eating the pizza does not put money back in her pocket.
Not a cent. The financial part of the story is over. So Sean frames the actual choice Annie has in the present moment. She isn't choosing between wasting money or getting her money's worth.
So what are her real options?
She has two variables left: the pizza slice and her body.
Hmm.
Option A, leave the pizza.
Okay.
Financial outcome: money is lost, which it already was. Physical outcome: she feels full but fine. She had a good meal.
And option B.
Option B, eat the pizza. Financial outcome: money is still lost. Physical outcome: she feels sick, she has a stomachache, she ruins her evening.
When you put it that way, option B sounds insane. You are literally choosing to make yourself sick.
You're paying a physical tax just to satisfy the emotional need to see an empty plate.
That is the sunk cost fallacy, throwing good health after bad money.
Exactly. But our brains trick us. We feel like consuming the item somehow validates the purchase. If I eat it, the money wasn't wasted. But Sean points out that this is irrational. Using your body as a garbage can doesn't save money.
So what's the definition of a rational choice in this context? If we want to be more like Sean and less like Annie, what's the rule?
According to the source material, a rational choice is stopping at the exact point where the marginal utility, the joy of the next bite, is still equal to or higher than the cost.
And the cost isn't just money.
No, in the moment of consumption, the cost is rarely money. The cost is health, time, effort, comfort.
Right.
As soon as that next bite brings you more pain than pleasure, even a tiny bit more pain, the rational move is to stop immediately.
Even if there's food left on the plate, even if there's half a bottle of wine left?
Even if you are halfway through a movie, if the movie is boring you, you're gaining zero utility, but you are paying with your time. Stop watching.
It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's fundamental to resource management. True economy isn't about consuming everything you possess. It's about maximizing your well-being.
Right.
Sometimes the trash can is a better destination for that sixth slice than your stomach.
That is the headline. The trash can is often a better place than your body.
Okay, so that covers the biology of satisfaction and the sunk cost trap. But the source material pivots here. It takes this concept of diminishing returns and applies it to something else we all struggle with: shopping.
Right. Because if this law applies to pizza, it applies to everything. And guess who understands the law of diminishing marginal utility better than anyone?
Marketers.
Marketers, retailers, big business. They know perfectly well that the joy you get from the second item is lower than the first.
They know about the curve.
They bank on it. Let's talk about the incentive structure. The source mentions the buy one, get one deals, or BOGO.
We all love a BOGO.
Do we? Or do we just think we do?
Hmm.
Let's walk through the math. Let's say you go to the store to buy a box of fancy cookies. You really want cookies.
Hmm.
The utility of that first box is high. You're willing to pay full price, say $5.
Easy purchase. I want the cookies. My marginal utility is higher than the $5 cost.
But do you want a second box right now?
Probably not. I mean, one box is plenty. The second box is just going to sit in the cupboard. I don't have an immediate need for it.
Exactly. The marginal utility of the second box is much lower. Maybe it's only worth $2 to you. You wouldn't pay $5 for it.
No. If I saw a second box for $5, I'd walk right past it.
Precisely. The store knows this. They know the demand curve for that second unit drops off a cliff. So if they want to move inventory, they have to lower the price to match your dropping utility.
They have to meet me at the bottom.
Yes. They say, okay, buy the first one for $5 and we'll give you the second one for free or 50% off.
Ah, I see. So they're artificially lowering the barrier to entry to match my diminishing interest.
Yes. The host in the text calls this a bribe.
A bribe.
Essentially, they are bribing you to take an item you didn't really want. They're trying to convince you to consume the equivalent of that fourth slice of pizza.
That is fascinating. We usually look at a discount and think, wow, the store is being generous, or what a great opportunity to stock up.
But if we look at it through the lens of marginal utility, the discount isn't generosity. It's a necessity for them. They know you don't value the second item as much. They know the only way to get you to take it is to practically give it away.
It effectively tricks us into hoarding. We end up with pantries full of stuff we didn't really need just because the price per unit was low.
And remember, nothing is truly free. There's a cost to that free box of cookies.
What's the cost?
Clutter, storage space, the mental load of managing a full pantry. Or if it's perishable food, you end up eating it when you aren't hungry just so it doesn't go bad.
Which brings us right back to the sunk cost fallacy and the stomach ache.
It's a perfect loop of irrationality. You buy the BOGO deal to save money, but you end up with negative utility because you overconsume or clutter your home.
The marketing trap is designed to push you past your point of maximum satisfaction and into the realm of accumulation for accumulation's sake.
We have to realize that our stop signal is constantly being jammed by these marketing tactics. They're trying to override your natural sense of enough.
So let's try to synthesize this. We've talked about pizza, pain, sunk costs, and cookies. What does all this mean for the listener? How do we actually use this information?
It means we need to become more attuned to our own internal utility meter. We need to listen to it more than we listen to the external signals like empty plates or discount signs.
It's about recognizing that stopping isn't losing.
Right. Stopping while you're ahead, while the utility is still positive, is the winning strategy, whether it's food, shopping, or even work.
Even work.
Absolutely. The law applies to productivity too. I mean, think about your workday. The first hour of focused work, high utility, you're sharp, you're solving problems.
That's the first slice of work.
But what about the 10th hour?
Yeah.
You've been at the desk all day, you're tired, you're staring at the screen.
You're probably just scrolling or writing emails that don't make sense.
That is negative utility. You are likely making mistakes that you'll have to fix tomorrow. You're burning yourself out.
And the rational choice is to go home.
The rational choice is to go home. But we stay because of the sunk cost fallacy. I've been here this long, I should finish. Or just the cultural pressure that more is better.
It's the same pattern. We grind ourselves down because we don't respect the law of diminishing returns.
Exactly. Rest has high utility. Grinding past the point of exhaustion has negative utility.
So to recap the journey we've been on today with Annie and Sean, we started with the first slice, that 10 out of 10 experience, the peak of happiness.
We learned that satisfaction is not a straight line, it's a curve that goes down.
We watched it slide down through the meh phase all the way to the wall and then into the danger zone of slice 6.
Negative utility, pain, and the realization that more is not always better. Sometimes more is just worse.
We also tackled the sunk cost fallacy, the idea that you have to keep eating because you paid for it.
When we debunk that, the money is gone. Your only choice is between feeling good or feeling sick. Don't choose sick.
And finally, we looked at how marketers weaponize this law against us with BOGO deals, bribing us to buy things we have low utility for.
It really changes how you look at a sale sign, doesn't it? It makes you ask, do I actually want this? Or is the price just low enough to make me ignore the fact that I don't want it?
That is the million-dollar question. Do I want this, or do I just want the deal?
If you can answer that honestly, you save yourself a lot of trouble.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a final thought. And this is something that kind of bubbled up from the source material for me. It wasn't explicitly in the notes, but it feels like the logical conclusion of this whole theory.
What's that?
Well, if the law of diminishing marginal utility is a universal law, if it's true that the first experience of anything is always the 10-10 and the second is always lower and the third is lower still,
Good one.
does that mean we're doing life wrong by constantly seeking comfort and repetition? Should we be focusing our lives on constantly seeking new experiences?
That's a very provocative idea.
Think about it. If you want a life full of 10-10 moments, you can't get that from the 100th slice of the same pizza. You technically can't get it from the 100th time you watch your favorite movie.
The math says the thrill must fade.
So, to hack the system, you have to find a new pizza, or a taco, or a salad. You have to switch inputs.
It suggests that variety isn't just the spice of life, it's the only way to hack the economic law of happiness. If you repeat the same thing over and over, you are mathematically guaranteed to enjoy it less. You're just sliding down the curve.
But if you try something new, a new hobby, a new travel destination, a new type of food, you get to jump back to the top of a new curve. You get that first slice feeling again.
So maybe the takeaway isn't just about knowing when to stop eating. Maybe it's about knowing when to stop doing the same old thing and have the courage to try something different. Keep the utility curve high.
Exactly. Don't settle for the fourth slice of life just because it's comfortable. Go find a new first slice.
I like that. Maximizing utility through novelty.
Something to chew on, rationally, of course.
Indeed.
That's it for this deep dive into the mechanics of satisfaction. Go forth, listen to your stop signals, avoid the bribes, and we will see you next time.
Good guy, everyone.